to Friday's Premier League today. The countdown to match week 13 starts right here, Will.
Certainly does. You've come to the right place for all the latest top-flight talking points, and they don't come much bigger than the news coming out of Old Trafford. The Theatre of Dreams has a new leading man with Ralf Rangnick, reportedly close to being named Manchester United's new interim manager. We'll get the global reaction to today's biggest story for you.
Yes, United travel to league leaders Chelsea in the headline fixture of the weekend. Their man of the moment, Thiago Silva, says he's proud of his current form and is targeting more trophies with the Blues this season.
That match at Stamford Bridge is the big game of the weekend, but there's plenty more to get excited about. Arsenal and Newcastle kick off match week 13, that one at the Emirates. That's one of 5 games on Saturday. It includes Patrick Vieira taking on Steven Gerrard in a meeting of 2 Premier League icons, Liv.
Yes, it's a busy Sunday this week with Manchester City and West Ham meeting in a top 4 clash before all eyes turn to Stamford Bridge for the late one on Sunday. We'll start, though, with Manchester United. Whatever happens off the pitch in the next few hours, it's clear that on it, things need to improve.
Watford host Manchester United.
We know we should do better.
They simply can't afford to slip up here.
We think we will do better.
And there is Joshua King! Manchester United unpicked yet again. Saar! What a shocking first half.
Disaster. That was about as bad as it's got.
What a calamity. Would you believe it?
It was embarrassing.
Oh, they've got another one.
It was a nightmare.
5 defeats from their last 7 league games. How much longer can this go on for, you wonder?
How low are you feeling right now?
Very.
Well, breaking news, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been sacked.
A daunting trip to high-flying Chelsea is next for struggling United.
Well, the reports that Ralf Rangnick will be Man United's interim manager. We want to hear from you guys at home using the hashtag PLFans. Is he the right man for the job? Manchester United fans, is he the man you wanted? What do you think he can do in the time before now and the end of the season? Use the hashtag PLFans. Also,
Liv, we want to hear from Spurs fans today who are probably hiding. There's a few of them down here behind the couch. Enes Moura beating them in the Europa Conference League, which means, because all the Spurs fans were saying, look, this is going to be the trophy. Conte's going to lift this first trophy since 2008. And it means now they can only finish second in the group. They can still get through that group, but they've got Rennes, a tough game, the last one in the Europa Conference League. Rennes, top of the table, so a tricky one for Conte. So Spurs fans, United fans, get in touch, hashtag PLFans.
Yes, let's head to Old Trafford now because our reporter Ian Irving is there for us. And Ian, you could not have picked a better guest to have with you right now, could you?
No, that's very true, actually. Yeah, Laurie Whitwell's here with us from The Athletic, who broke this story yesterday that Ralf Rangnick is the choice for Manchester United as interim manager. We must stress at the minute, no official confirmation from Manchester United on this. But your story's correct, isn't it, Laurie? I hope so, by this point.
We hope so, yeah. No, everyone seems to have followed up, and yeah, it's likely to happen. Well, it will happen. It's just the final details are being sorted as we speak, and I wouldn't be surprised if we get an announcement today.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. Manchester United's Twitter feed at the minute is wishing Aaron Wan-Bissaka a happy birthday, so I don't think the Rangnick news is top of their agenda just yet. In terms of him coming, it's a 6-month interim contract as manager and a 2-year consultancy role beyond that. Is he sort of coming in to change everything here? Is he going to have his fingers over everything?
I think they want to see what he has to say about a lot of things. John Murtagh, who's the football director, who's had probably the most dialogue with Ralf Rangnick, for the past couple of years, really, is great admiration for what he's done in his career. Want to tap into that kind of knowledge and expertise. So he comes in, and obviously his primary objective is to get the team functioning and get back up the table. But I think they'll also ask his opinion on various matters around the club in terms of the academy, in terms of coaching, in terms of the whole structure at Carrington. And I suppose that's then when you get into the 2-year consultancy, that's probably when they'll sort of tap into that a little bit more.
Yeah, it's a fascinating choice for Manchester United as well. Rangnick's sort of held up as the godfather of the Gegenpress of modern German coaching. He's influenced the likes of Jurgen Klopp, Thomas Tuchel, Julian Nagelsmann, even Ralph Hasenhüttl, of course, who's in the Premier League as well. So what are Manchester United getting here?
An intense coach, an intellectual coach, somebody who is confident in their own abilities, who can manage big egos, we're told. It will be interesting. Obviously, it's a different level with Manchester United. The scrutiny is intense, eyeballs everywhere. you've got Cristiano Ronaldo, the world's most famous player, one of the world's best players. Will he fit into the style that Ralf Rangnick wants? We'll see. I think he's got great tactical sophistication where players will adapt to what he wants. He can see what their qualities are and kind of fit around them a little bit. But clearly, he comes in with that idea for a high pressing style. It will be interesting to see how much he can implement at United. Yeah, the local newspaper in Manchester, the Manchester Evening News, picked out yesterday some old quotes from Rangnick describing Cristiano Ronaldo as too old to sign. So it'll be very interesting to see how those two sort of meet each other at Carrington, maybe today if he arrives. He's not going to be in charge, though, no matter what, is he, for the game at Stamford Bridge this weekend, because there's still issues to sort, we understand, with visas and things like that. So it's Michael Carrick in charge again. But do you think it will have an effect straight away on United? It'll be interesting to see. I mean, you think with players that are in the building, they now realise they've got to impress the new guy. I mean, clearly they'll all have been trying before now, but I don't know, you always see a little bit of a bounce maybe from players. He's lost the dressing room, all that business. Well, that's it. We'll see now, won't we? In terms of what players thought of Solskjaer's methods and the kind of confusion, perhaps, the lack of direction possibly that some of them were feeling, will they now get that from Ralf Rangnick? You look at the way that he conducts his dressing room team talks before games. It is, intense. It's up and at him. It's a high tempo. So you think they'll get clear instructions certainly from him when he does eventually step in. One criticism of Rangnick maybe is the level that he's managed at. He's managed at some huge clubs in Germany. He's had his fingerprints all over the RB model at Leipzig and Salzburg in Austria as well. But in terms of sort of top level management, this is in theory maybe the biggest job he's ever had. And in terms of winning trophies as well, his record's not that impressive. Is that an issue? Yeah, I don't necessarily see that as an issue, because where he's worked at previously in terms of trophies, they haven't really been expecting to win trophies. So I think what he has done is bring Leipzig from the ground really and built them into a Champions League regular at the top level. Obviously, he's had coaches work under him and players, but the kind of whole ethos for the club was his fingerprints. So I think that is something that United really can utilise. You've been crying out, I suppose, for that kind of football expertise at a higher level for a while. So I don't think that's a bad thing. Clearly, in this 6-month interim period, I guess that's why it's a 6-month period rather than let's give him the job for longer than that, because they want to see how he does. It is a new experience for him, for Manchester United as well. So, but I think that it's a 6-month period. They were in a difficult position, a desperate situation really in the Premier League. So you can only think that he will bring an upgrade to what was going on before. Let's talk about the match this weekend then. It's a small matter of Chelsea away, the league leaders. United under Carrick looked a little bit better, shall we say, certainly in the second half against Villarreal in the Champions League. They'll be boosted by that. But do you give them any hope going to Stamford Bridge this weekend? It's a tough task, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, they look pretty fearsome, don't they, Chelsea? I mean, the Juventus game was another example of that. They seem totally in tune with each other. And I suppose that's one thing for United to look at. Thomas Tuchel went in after Frank Lampard was sacked and got pretty much an immediate uplift. They won the Champions League. If United could do that, I'm sure they'd be pretty happy. Yeah, get rid of a club legend and bring in a German manager. It seems a clear model, like that, doesn't it? Maybe, yeah. Let's see. And obviously Tuchel, one of a kind of disciple of Ralf Rangnick's. So yeah, Sunday will be a difficult game. Chelsea know what they're about, whereas United are obviously still in that kind of uncertain period. But I think Villarreal, they could take some comfort from that, because I think they were the worst team for 60 minutes of the game. Villarreal had the better chances, but they managed to keep it fairly tight and compact. If they can do that at Chelsea, I still think they've got the quality to actually score against them. It's just a case of keeping it tight. Without Harry Maguire, who's suspended, that back line is going to be interesting, and that's been the kind of sore spot for United. So that'll probably be the main thing. If they can keep it tight, though, to begin with, I do give them a chance. OK, brilliant. Thank you for joining us here at Old Trafford, Laurie. Yeah, he's taken time out from his busy schedule of breaking stories to be here with us, so thank you very much for that. And in terms, of course, of Ralf Rangnick, no official confirmation at the moment from Manchester United, but like Laurie said, we do expect an announcement sooner rather than later. He won't be in charge no matter what happens, though, at Chelsea this weekend.
Ian, thank you very much. Indeed, it should be interesting. He'd be there, you'd imagine, when he in the stands.
Yeah, he'd be having a look at. Definitely.
Yeah. Yesterday, Liv, we spoke to the German football expert Raphael Honigstein all about Ralf Rangnick. He's a very good friend of him, knows him very well. He says that this is a really smart idea for both parties.
Yeah, I think that sums it up. I mean, this is somebody who thinks and dreams and worries about football 24/7. A real football madman in the best sense of the word. Where do we start? I think what's important to understand is that this is a guy who was a real innovator in German football. He played a kind of game with a flat back four, a zonal marking, pressing at a time when all these things were completely unknown in German football. And I think United's United hierarchy looked at the effect and the impact that Thomas Tuchel had in such a short space of time and thought, if Rangnick can do a similar job, giving structure, giving guidance, giving cohesion to this team, then the next 6-7 months will really help us when it then comes to rebuilding the club or having the next big appointment as a good stepping stone, as a good bridge into this new area. And I think, as you said, he's influenced so many people, and I think he stands for that modern kind of coaching that increasingly clubs want, because these kind of guys tend to get more out of teams collectively rather than just adding individuals and hoping for them to do something special, which was the old way of doing it. And I think it's no longer viable. Even at a club like United, you can't just throw money at the problem, buying big players all the time. You need somebody who has a very clear idea of what they're supposed to do as a collective.
Let's go to Russia, Liv, and speak to Filip Kudryavtsev from Rambler. Filip, good to see you on Premier League today. So, look, give us the angle from Lokomotiv Moscow, because, of course, that is where still Ralf Rangnick is employed as head of sports and development. Did the move come as a surprise to them, and how's it all going to be sorted out at that end?
Hello, thanks for having me. Well, actually, that is the problem. Ralf Rangnick is not the employee of Lokomotiv Moscow. Lokomotiv actually signed a contract with his agency, newly built agency in the summer 2021, and they are his first client, actually. So he was starting a new path of his career, setting up an agency that will consult clubs all over Europe or maybe all over the world, and Lokomotiv opted for it. Of course, Lokomotiv wanted to give a better sense of this contract, and they say on their official site, for example, that Ralf Rangnick is their head of sports and development, but actually he has nothing to do with Lokomotiv officially. So it's just his consultancy agency that consults Lokomotiv Football Club, and they gain a lot of money for it, 4.5 million euros a year just for the consultancy services. I think that's quite a bargain for Ralf Rangnick. So nothing really changes for Lokomotiv Moscow. They have their managers on their places. Ralf Rangnick is kind of a supervisor. Now he will have less time to supervise Lokomotiv, of course, because of his day-to-day job at Manchester United.
And Filip, you said they got a lot of money for him, but how much do you think Lokomotiv will miss him being there as sort of that supervisor?
Well, I think quite a lot in terms of their restructuring process right now, because Lokomotiv has changed everything with the arrival of Ralf Rangnick. He appointed his manager, Markus Gisdol. It was, of course, his candidate. The previous manager, Marko Nikolic, he was quite good at Lokomotiv, but with the first run of poor results for over a year, they dismissed him immediately. After that, they have made quite controversial transfers for quite big money. But some high-profile figures for Russia, for example, Tino Anjorin from Chelsea is quite high-profile, and these negotiations would be impossible without Ralf Rangnick, who actually negotiated with Chelsea about him. So we understand that without Ralf Rangnick dealing with Lokomotiv problems on the daily basis, on a regular basis, such transfers from Europe are not possible. And of course, Lokomotiv are disappointed because they have quite a big expectations on him. He developed a strategy for development of in Lokomotiv Moscow. They had big money saved for his arrival at the club, and now actually his focus will very much change to the Man United side.
Yeah. I was reading a really interesting article that Rafa Honigstein did on The Athletic, and I said that Rafa knows Rangnick very well. Just across the border from you in Ukraine, in Kiev, a sort of a chance meeting, a friendly against Dynamo Kiev in the early 80s, who had a really pioneer-style coach, and that's where all this press started, this modern-day press. And of course, that's what we're expecting from Manchester United. Not quite sure Ronaldo's going to be pressing anytime soon.
It's an interesting one.
Yeah. Is he, do you think, the right man? And what have United seen in him?
Well, I see the positives that Rafael Honigstein has mentioned, but still, for me, Ralf is kind of a team builder or a club structure builder. And I suppose that Manchester United team is kind of it's pretty much built already in terms of the personnel, in terms of the players. I don't think he has time or ability to restructure something. And now what he has to do in terms of the work, in terms of working with the players, he has to work with high-profile players, with big names, with Cristiano Ronaldo, for example. And I don't think he has much of that experience. I don't think he has much of the coaching experience because he only has coached for, 2 years from the last 10. So in short term, I don't think that it would be 100% impact. Well, that's where I have my concerns. But I think eventually it's a win-win situation for everyone because Ralf Rangnick is promoting his consultancy agency, as I have already said. And such a big client as Man United is definitely a step forward. And Man United get a man who is very good in building in the long term.
Philip, really insightful. Thank you very much. That's Philip Kudryavtsev from Rambler in Russia. You guys have been getting in touch. Hashtag PL fans. Kirk Jr. Liv says Rangnick is the perfect appointment. He'll make United a better team. If everything goes to plan, I see United making the top 4 and going very far in the Champions League places. They're only 6 points off the top 4 as it stands. Bongani's been in touch as well. Says Ralf is not the man I wanted and I don't have much faith in him to lead my Devils. I still say that Zidane is there and would turn United back to what it was before Sir Alex stepped down.
Big shout there. And Zittel said, hashtag PL fans, I think Ralf Rangnick would do a good job in Manchester United. German coaches are proven winners. He would bring a winning mentality into the dressing room, hopefully, which is, of course, what Manchester United need. Right, that's it for part 1. But coming up...